Hello, everyone. Hello, everyone. Thank you for being here this evening for the first Down Syndrome Association of Northern Virginia Advocacy Program meeting of 2024. In case you do not already know them, I would like to introduce you to David Egan and his mom, Kathleen Egan, who will be talking to us about the importance of advocacy. David is my friend, a fellow DSNV board member, and a fellow self-advocate. Not only did he serve as the very first Joseph P. Kennedy Jr. Public Policy Fellow with an intellectual disability, he has used the skills he gained in that position to work for the Ways and Means Social Security Subcommittee on Capitol Hill and to work for the National Down Syndrome Society. He also represents self-advocates on many nonprofit advocacy boards and is the author of the highly acclaimed book, My Life with Down Syndrome, More Alike Than Different. David's mom, Kathleen Egan, has been in many leadership positions, is an amazing advocate for people with intellectual and developmental disabilities, and currently serves on the National Institute of Health National Advisory Child Health and Human Development Council. Please join me in giving David and Kathleen a warm round of applause.
Thank you.
Thank you, Charlotte and GSNV, for inviting me and my mother to speak today about advocacy. I hope that by the end of the talk, we will be inspired to discover how to ignite the fire of advocacy in our daily lives. Individuals with Down syndrome have abilities. We are misunderstood and often undervalued. So advocating for ourselves and others is critical in our journey. I was born to be an advocate, and I dare to dream. My success and the ability to make my dreams come true was possible thanks to the support of my family and the people who believed in me. Early in my life, my parents helped me discover my talents and set expectations for me. In return, I'm motivated to rise to the occasion. I am in charge of my attitude, and I'm in charge of my life. Has helped me with challenges, reaching full potential. My story is like that of many of you here today. We're more alike than different, with or without a disability. We all experience challenges and successes. I was born with Down syndrome. Down syndrome does not define me as a person. I'm confident with who I am. I'll put the myth of limits behind me and see the possibilities. When I was young and needed to go to the hospital to have my tonsils taken out, I asked my mother if they will take away the Down syndrome thing too. She said it will be with you all your life, but does not stop you from having dreams. And being successful. She was right. I'm grateful for a family that did not see my disability as an excuse for not involving me in all the activities. The fun ones and the not so fun ones. I experienced inclusion early in my childhood and throughout adulthood. I am the oldest of 4. My siblings, their spouses, and children are a lot of fun. My family is proud of me. I surprise them, and they are amazed by the progress I have made over the 46 years of my life. I don't think that in 1977, when I was born in Madison, Wisconsin, when my parents were graduate students, they imagined me as an advocate for people with intellectual disabilities. I used to watch C-SPAN on TV, and my mother thought that I had the wrong channel. I told her, do not change it. I wanted to speak one day on Capitol Hill at members of Congress. After high school, I told my dad I wanted to have a job and advocate for people with disabilities. My dream became a reality. I did not do it alone. I had a network of supporters and people who believed in me. They saw my abilities, not my disability. I don't think they expected me to become a public speaker and a published author. They did not think that I would testify at the Senate in Washington, D.C. and speak twice for World Down Syndrome Day at the United Nations. They did not think that I would be the first person with an intellectual disability to be selected as a Joseph P. Kennedy Jr. Public Policy Fellow and to work on Capitol Hill. They did not think that I would compete in Special Olympic sports and to serve as a charter Shriver International Global Messenger, to travel the world, meet celebrities, have friends, hobbies, live a good life, and I would even dare to say an extraordinary life. Another area of advocacy is employment. It is a defining aspect of adult life. It connects us to full participation and inclusion in our communities. It fosters a sense of self-worth, opens opportunities for social growth, leading to greater independence. My professional career started after high school and vocational training at the Davis Career Center. I had the best internship at Booz Allen Hamilton. That internship landed me a competitive full-time position as a clerk in the distribution center in Tyson's location. Felicia, my first supervisor, believed in me, and she taught me the ropes of being the best clerk. She guided me with a kind hand approach. She also stood up for me when I really needed it. Next slide. I also made friends at work. Greg is my mentor and friend. Together, we made a positive impact on all the employees, from our colleagues in the mailroom to the senior partners. We advocated together in the firm. It was a surprise and an honor when the chairman and CEO at the time, Dr. Schrader, called Greg and I his heroes, and he received the Easter Seals Award. Next slide.
That's right. No, don't tell her. Next slide. No, back.
Go back.
Okay.
I was fully integrated in the workplace. In all of my jobs, I had good employers. Everyone wanted me to succeed. I was a member of the team, involved in all the activities of the company. I was one of them, and not one among them. They accepted me as a person who contributes. They value my abilities to do the job. I was treated like all other employees, earning equal wages, receiving full benefits, yearly assessment, and professional development. I went from a clerk position to a career of advocacy. I vote, I pay taxes, and I matter. In 2010, I had the honor to testify on the Senate Health Committee, Health, Education, Labor, and Pensions, chaired by former Senator Harkin. The committee heard my testimony and asked me questions about competitive employment. I told them employment of people with intellectual disabilities is a smart business decision and a social responsibility. There was an amazing advocacy experience on Capitol Hill. As a Special Olympics Global Messenger, a follow in the footsteps of Eunice Kennedy Shriver, she believed in individuals with intellectual disabilities. She's my role model for advocacy. She told the athletes, and I quote, "The right to play on any playing field, you have earned it. The right to study in any school, you have earned it. The right to hold any job, you have earned it. The right to be anyone's neighbor, you have earned it." Now I want to ask all of you, do you believe that individuals with Down syndrome can be advocates? Do you? Let us imagine the possibilities and dream with me of a world where people are respected and encouraged to succeed. A world where all people belong and have great friends. We need to boldly go where no one has gone before, charting a new course to ignite the dreams that belong to all of us. I'm a Star Trek fan, and I love science fiction. I hope that the next generation of all individuals with different abilities can live long and prosper. Quoting Science Officer Spock, it is not enough to live long, we need to prosper. Our quality of life is important. This is a key advocacy for all of us to pursue. We need to be respected, accepted, and not tolerated. We may have challenges, but who doesn't? We share in the basic human needs and aspirations. I did not ask to have a disability. I was born with it. But I dare to dream of a world where people are respected and valued no matter their start in life. I learned to focus on my abilities rather than on my disability. My book, More Like Than Different, My Life with Down Syndrome, was published September 2020. Writing the book with the help of my mother, family, and friends was a fun and busy journey into memory lane. I believe that my book is a demonstration of what is possible in spite of the challenges. I focus on the abilities and our shared humanity. I also believe that each one of you have a role to play in your community, no matter the position you have, from the most humble one to the most glamorous. You can build a society that does not exclude but rather includes. We all share in the same humanity, regardless of race, culture, gender, socioeconomic status, or intellectual abilities. Throughout our life, we are in the position to make this world a better place for all of us. We all matter. We need more leaders in crossing the finish line. We need to change the world, and together we can make it happen. Accepting who we are, accepting other people who may be different at first, and then discovering that we have more in common than we thought. I take pride from my journey in education, employment, community, and citizenship. I would say I have a career of advocacy. I have experienced inclusion throughout my life. I'm empowered and I am thankful for all the opportunities I have been offered and all those who have helped me succeed. I hope that in some small way, that by participating in this event, you will leave determined and ready to make your dreams come true. I hope that you will be confident and ready to make an impact wherever you go and at all times throughout your journey. So, are you ready? Are you ready to make an impact, to change the hearts and minds? I challenge you to reimagine your role, take a stand and lead on. Pledge to spread inclusion. Let us focus on our shared humanity, despite our differences. The power of inclusion is evident when it helps overcome adversity and uncover special gifts. We owe it to the next generation. Thank you for giving me the opportunity to tell you about my story of advocacy. Now I'll pass it on to my mother, Kathleen, who will share a few of her views and experiences. Thank you.
Can we switch?
Thank you, David.
Thank you, David.
Okay, can we switch? Okay, we're going to switch. Okay, it's kind of tough to follow David because I don't need slides, just he said he was born to be an advocate, and maybe you expected him to talk about the importance of advocacy. But to me, advocacy is not only speaking. For me, advocacy means that your life is a testimony, it's a demonstration. And advocates, we call people with Down syndrome self-advocates. To me, it means that the individual is seeking independence. They know what they need and what they want. And advocacy means like you defend your rights, but also you demonstrate your abilities. So that's why David chose to talk about his journey. And he focused on issues like employment, inclusion in sports and who has inspired him in many ways. So, as a parent, what does it mean to advocate for and with our children? So, I will try to highlight some pivotal times, things that David doesn't remember much. I mean, as a young child. So, early childhood is so important. Neighborhood and inclusion in a neighborhood is what I think we parents do the most of. For sure, we're always in the shadow and in behind. And I think whatever we do with a child with a disability is the same that we do with any other child. You know, we advocate for each one of them. For sure, a child with a disability has some kind of unique challenges that we have to accept and admit. For me, let me summarize a little bit here. So I think early childhood is critical in advocating for your child. Schooling is critical, advocating for your child. And in my view, it's always partnering with the people rather than fighting. I know advocacy means you defend, but my belief is I've been successful with David when I partnered with people. And by partnering, we bonded and then they advocated with me for David. I wasn't alone. The other part, David talked about transition from school to work and employment. And there are two other issues I think we parents advocate for our children, especially those with disabilities, are the finances, because we think of the future, what's going to be their financial future. We want to make sure they have a stable future. We don't want them to be a burden on their brothers and sisters. So finances become an issue that we parents have to deal with. And the other one, I think, is health. Health is an ongoing issue from childhood to adulthood. And in the past 2 years, many of you know it was kind of a tough one for David and for all of us at the Egans. So, one way to advocate for a child with a disability, in my view, is to figure out the gift that that child has. I think no matter how severe the disability is or how severe or complex the situation is, there is a gift somewhere. And finding that gift is the way, in my view, is to advocate. When David, as a young child, showed early on kind of leadership and bossy attitudes. And I think it's maybe because he was the oldest and I was first-time parents with him, and I knew very little about little kids and what to do with kids and so forth. So he kind of taught me what to do. It was kind of funny. He was communicative very, very early on, and that was a blessing in many ways. It made it easier for me and my husband, and I have to admit that without a good husband, I don't know how people do it. You really have to be two people to make it work. Also, we were very lucky being on a campus at the university where David had wonderful medical support and healthcare expertise at the university, and inclusion at the age of 2 at the Weizmann Center with researchers who came to our home to film David. And I learned from the researcher. The researchers would film David, and I advocated for them, but also they taught me. I felt it was always a partnership. And the way to advocate is to become a partner. And I don't look at advocacy as only advocating on Capitol Hill. You advocate every day for your child at every moment to give them that independence and that happiness and that confidence in themselves. So I learned a lot from the researchers coming to my home. And then David became kind of a subject of research since day one. He was in the books of the nurses. The nurses would use David to, he has a VSD with his heart. So they would listen to his heart and they would teach the students about how to listen to the heart of a child with Down syndrome. So anyway, the other way, it was hard for us moving from Wisconsin to Virginia. In Virginia, we found that inclusion in the schools was not something that we had in Wisconsin, like we had in Wisconsin. So it was difficult. So we decided as a family to include David in neighborhood sports. So David was included in the Scouts, he was included in T-ball, he was included in swimming. And that helped quite a bit. And that was advocacy from the brothers, the sisters, the family, the whole family. Then let me maybe jump about sickness. And so in the past 2 years, David was very sick, and we had to advocate for him, especially in the mental health areas. That was an area that was very difficult. The professionals, in fact, that's what something we need to advocate with NIH, and we need to advocate on the Hill to have clinics that specialize in Down syndrome. I mean, even when I paid from out of pocket about to get someone to talk to David, they would call me and say, "We don't know what to do." So it's an area, a big gap that needs advocacy for sure. So I'm going to stop here. I can talk for a long, long time if you need me to, but I think it's more important to have people be able to